Everything's done. No more gym, no more nutrition, no more nothing. Most people don't have to worry about that when it comes to health and fitness. Hey everyone, my name is Nathan Horowitz. I'm a personal trainer and stuntman here in Los Angeles, California, and I run an online program called Stronger by Stunt, where I help everyday people with their health, fitness, and mindset and nutrition. And today I wanted to start off this new video series and talk a little bit about fear. Specifically fear when it comes to working out, going to the gym, and fears that we might have around our own personal fitness and nutrition journeys. I want to start with a good understanding of what fear is, how it affects us both physically and mentally, and how we can manipulate fear into excitement. That way we can stay on top of our goals and continue to move forward towards success. So, first things first, fear is just an unpleasant emotion caused by the belief that something or someone is dangerous or likely to cause us pain or harm or discomfort in some way. So, when we experience fear, the brain releases cortisol and adrenaline, which can cause an increase in blood pressure, heart rate, and in breathing.
What? Okay, fine, I'm cool, I'm fine.
And the blood flow to your limbs also increase, which then dictates that fight or flight response. And from a psychological standpoint, the cerebral cortex becomes impaired, which means decision making becomes much more difficult, which is why we get quote unquote brain fog. So if we look at this pyramid, there's a hierarchy when it comes to fear. Things that we experience most often probably are at the top of this pyramid, but our baseline human instincts, the most intense fear we can have, is at the very bottom, and that's extinction. So I want to talk a little bit about all of this in detail so you have a decent understanding of it. First, I want to talk about extinction, right? The fear of death. Everything's done. No more gym, no more nutrition, no more nothing. Most people don't have to worry about that when it comes to health and fitness. Every once in a while at the gym, you might be doing a bench or a squat, a barbell squat, and you think, fuck, I might die today. But typically speaking, fearing death isn't something that comes up when we're at the gym, or typically speaking, hopefully, if you have a good trainer, you're not worried about dying. But some people might be afraid of mutilation. The fear of mutilation is the severe injury to the body. It could be also like animal bites, damage to your limbs and or organs. So there is a appropriate amount of worry when it comes to this, spraining an ankle, rupturing a bicep or a pec in some way, tearing a muscle, hamstrings. These things happen when it comes to sports and weightlifting, but if you have a good program and you're easing yourself into things and you're training smart, you really don't need to worry about these. But I understand that fear. Then there's the loss of autonomy. This is the fear of being restricted in some way. And that could be a physical restriction like claustrophobia or social restriction, or maybe something that you're feeling in a relationship. And then on the flip side of that, there's the fear of separation, the fear of abandonment, rejection, loss of connectedness, being unwanted, unrespected, or unvalued by anyone else. And finally, this is what most people are really worried about when it comes to going to the gym and, seeking validation from others, is the death of ego. It's this fear of humiliation, shame, profound self-disapproval, or feeling worthless, unlikable, or unwanted. From a more literary standpoint, as I was saying, we can look at the book The Crucible by Arthur Miller, where it talks about, paralysis being the fear of doing things wrong, leading you to do nothing in general. Then there's also inefficiency, the fear of wasting time and the fear of doing right things incorrectly. There's, that's a big word. Catastrophizing. The fear of things getting worse and seeing only the worst case scenarios. There's also holding on, the fear of letting go, and the fear that stopping doing something will be a mistake, which is also known as, just in case fear. It's like, well, just in case, I don't want to let this go just in case they come back. Fuck that bitch. Let it go. Move on. She left you for a dinosaur. It's ancient history. Cut that out.
Okay, let's move on. I feel like there's something. We'll be right back.
There's also the fear of self-doubt, not being able, being laughed at, and the fear of being criticized. And normalcy, the fear of being different, being noticed, and the fear of rejection and disbelief. I like these examples because it kind of puts it in a real world scenario. And these are things that people think and feel constantly, whether it be about going to the gym and feeling judged, about, maybe doing the exercises wrong, or feeling body shamed that maybe we're too skinny or we're too fat, or, we're not buff enough, whatever it may be. A lot of people have these fears that can really hold us back from doing things that we want to do. I'm working with a client right now who started training with me in November, and she couldn't walk at all. She had some health issues, and she was kind of in and out of the hospital, and she's past the point of weight gain and just being completely bedridden for months, or if not a year at a time, and she lost the strength to be able to walk. There's a lot of mental struggles that go on throughout that journey that, come from depression and anxiety and can just keep you in your bed. And as you continue to gain weight, it only makes it more and more difficult to then make a positive change. When I started working with her in November, she couldn't walk at all. And after like 6 months or so, we got her to do, 10 laps back and forth in her bedroom. And once she could do that, then she was walking from her bedroom to her front door, resting and walking back. We did that about 5 times. And there's been ups and downs because she's really afraid to train on her own and stay consistent. And consistency is key. In this kind of a scenario, you have to walk every single day if you want to see progress. But she's afraid to walk on her own. So what I'm trying to get her to do now is just get out of bed a little bit. Just sit up, turn her legs, put her feet on the floor. Get comfortable doing that. I'm not expecting her to get up and walk around her house on her own. I think that's very difficult, and it's also dangerous because no one in her family can lift her up and get her back into bed. I'm the only one who can do that, unless they call a team of paramedics or firefighters to hoist her back into bed, which is not a very confident building experience. But I want her to start building that confidence by just sitting up in bed and getting her feet on the floor. One day, she's going to feel confident and well rested enough to stand up on her own and then just stand there. And that alone is a huge step forward, both physically and mentally. So even if it seems like a minuscule amount of progress, take the smallest step you can. If you're really struggling to move forward, say, what is one thing I can do today to move towards success and overcome my fears? Do that. Start there. That's fine. And then in time, that will compound and you'll get better and better and better at facing your fears and staying consistent with your goals. So, to put this nicely into a little acronym for you, using fear is fear itself, we want to understand your fears and how they're affecting you, and if you have any conflicting fears. Someone might feel bad about their weight, how they look, how they feel, but then they're also worried about going to the gym and being judged by other people. So they have one fear that they want to act on, and they have another fear that's holding them back from acting upon it. That's incredibly important to understand. And once we understand what our fears are and how they're affecting us, then we can focus on turning that fear into excitement. I want you to focus on the possible positive outcomes rather than positive negative outcomes, which you will hear me say all the time. I want you to change that fear into excitement. And once you're now feeling maybe a little bit more excited about the process, a little bit more comfortable and confident, then it's a matter of taking action. You have to expose yourself to the things that make you uncomfortable and face your fears. We just need to take a small step forward and start, even if it's just a little bit. We can build up your confidence day after day after day, and then eventually you'll look back on it thinking, why was I ever worried about this? This is great. A decent example is like learning how to do a backflip. If I came up to you and said, do a backflip, you're like, fuck that. I've never done a backflip before. Oh, you just need practice to do a backflip. Here, let me show you how to do a backflip. Like, okay, cool. You showed me how to do a backflip, but I still have not practiced to do a backflip yet. I'm not even gonna try that. It looks cool. I would like to, but I'm not gonna try. I'm gonna hurt myself. I'm gonna feel judged or shamed. I'm not going to be able to do it. And what if I land on my head? Whatever it may be. Typically speaking, the most difficult part of any experience is the beginning, just getting started. These fears exist when we are starting our health and fitness journey, and they kind of persist for a while, which makes people feel very uncomfortable. But what we're going to talk about in a later video when it comes to confidence is that confidence is a skill that you have to practice time and time again. You have to face your fears repetitively until the confidence outweighs the fear. And then in time, of course, the anxiety will reduce as the confidence increases, and you can continue to stay consistent with the work that you need to do. And finally, rejoice. Take a deep fucking breath and enjoy the fact that you have and or are facing your fears and staying consistent and moving towards your goals. And if you fall off track, fuck it, it's okay. It's not the end of the world. Just reduce the amount of times that you fall off track and reduce the amount of times it takes you to get back on track. That's very important. I have no expectations for anyone to be 100% perfect 100% of the time. It's unrealistic. There are going to be times where you fall off track and life gets in the way. Maybe you're sick, maybe you're traveling, maybe you're just busy, maybe you're dealing with, some mental struggles, some physical struggles, maybe you're facing an injury. Shit happens. It's fine. Just focus on getting back on track as quickly as possible and diminish how often you fall off track. That will lead to the best outcomes in the long run. But yeah, that's pretty much it. that's my little spiel on fear. Again, I'm Nathan Horowitz, Stronger by Stunts. Send this video to someone who might be dealing with fear when it comes to their health and fitness. Comment below what your thoughts are, and if you need one-to-one coaching or if you would like help with your nutrition and fitness, shoot me a message, and yeah, have an amazing week.